Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good day. This is the pilot episode, the first inaugural episode of The Feed. This is the first official AutoAlert podcast. Now, this podcast is going to be for the automotive professional. We're going to talk about culture. We're going to talk about news. We're going to talk about how to work within the confines of a dealership as a vendor. And we're really going to talk about being a consumer because that's what we all are. But as we get things started and as we progress, we're going to get into the topics and we're going to be pretty authentic and real about it. So I want to introduce not only the first episode of the podcast, but our first featured guest, Mr. Sean Allen.
Hey, feels good to be here. Can't wait to get this thing going.
Yeah. So we're in the thick of it. We're gonna slide through this. This is the first one, so rough around the edges, but we want to get this content out. And today we want to talk about used cars because that's my favorite thing to purchase. John, I think
I bought my fair share of used cars. So yeah.
Yeah. My wife and I have, some call it an issue, but we have purchased a lot of vehicles, more vehicles in the years we've been married.
You like a collection. You like to try out new things.
Yes. I, as in myself and my wife, she likes to try several different types of vehicles, and we have tried them all. Okay. But yeah, the used car market is in flux as it has been. And I wanted to start this off with a quote. And I got this from LinkedIn, one of my favorite people to follow, the car dealership guy on LinkedIn. So this was pretty profound. And
that's not either of us. We're not the car dealership.
We are not the car dealership people or guys. We are guys that used to work at car dealerships. So everyone needs a car, but not everyone needs a car right now. In other words, how do you find active car shoppers when literally everyone can be your customer? That is from the car dealership guy on LinkedIn. Now, here's my take on that for this particular conversation. Dealers need used cars, but they're hard to find and even harder to afford. How do you find quality pre-owned vehicles that you can afford and turn quickly?
I mean, I think it's a tough question. I mean, there's no real clear answer. If there was, I think dealerships would be doing it right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways you can look at it. The way that I like to look at it is the service drive. I think the service drive is a great resource to utilize because these are your customers. They're ones that have said yes to you. They trust you. They've been in a couple times. Heck, it may be their first time that they're there. But we can really use them as an asset for us to acquire that inventory. You know, they know that they're going to be paying for something out of pocket, whether it's a couple $100 or a couple $1,000. Let's transfer that. Instead of paying for that out of pocket, instead of having to get those new tires, get that brake job, whatever it may be, let's get a new car in.
Yeah.
Let's do that instead.
Let's talk about the experience in the service drive. We know, first and foremost, if you're not accessing your service drive to acquire vehicles, you are missing out. It is not a mystery. It's not a question mark. I am definitively saying that you are missing opportunities on your service drive. Hit me in the comments to prove me wrong, but I don't think you can. Those are vehicles that are readily available for your acquisition if you know who to go after, or even if you blindly go out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But there's something bigger that prevents that objective. Even with the best data, we still have to centralize the consumer's experience.
It's all about experience.
Yes.
That is the key, is giving them the best experience possible. You know, the days of stale coffee, the days of, a popcorn machine that has been working for 2 weeks and hasn't had new popcorn and they're dead and gone. You want to give them the best experience possible because there's so many options now. Yeah. You don't have to go to a dealership for these types of things anymore. There's so many places where you can get an oil change, a tire rotation, a brake replacement all around you. What's driving you back to the dealership? Exactly. What's the reason for you to go back to the dealership?
And you have to value people's choice. They are there. Their vehicles are there. They chose you when they had all these other options, right? Or maybe they're in a situation where they felt like they didn't have any options, but they are in front of you. So it doesn't feel good to go to the service drive. I'm going to go out and say it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, even if it's something routine. I know I got to get my car's oil changed. I don't like going there. I say, every time I get there, you're going to find something else. I know you're going to find something else. And I'm going to have to think about this, or I already know something's going on. There's a sound in the back quarter panel. I don't know what it is. And it makes this pop, but it only does when I turn the wheel this way. And I got to explain that to old buddy over there. And he's going to go driving. Of course, he's not. All of these things.
Looks at you like you're crazy.
Yeah. I don't hear like I don't hear nothing, man. I can't recreate it. But consumers are thinking about this stuff on the way in. And then they're met with no communication, misinformation, no idea that there's a possibility.
High wait time.
And
not just sitting there, just dropping your car off and leaving it for 2 months.
Yeah.
Then
I don't know what that means.
Lack of communication.
How do I do this? Consumers look to us as the experts. Mm-hmm. I'm coming to you because that's what you do. I don't do that. So I want you to guide me through that. So there's nothing wrong with a firm hand that guides towards what the process is. And when we couple that with the dealership needing cars, that's your opportunity to pop in and say, hey, I know you're here for X. I need to tell you about this, this, and this, because I either do know who you are or I am just meeting you. Thank you for coming to my business. Here's how we do things. Every time you have the opportunity to engage a customer, that is your way of spreading that brand and impacting that experience immediately. That's going to determine if you've got another experience coming or what the rest of this one's going to be. And then what they're going to say about you outside.
Well, sure. You look at all the reviews. Every single review that's negative is about a bad experience that happened because of a lack of communication.
Yep.
If you go to the central thesis of most of these, it's because that there was a lack of communication, whether there was something that they thought they were getting, they didn't get, something that they thought they weren't going to get, they did get, added cost because of a repair that needed to happen.
Yeah.
I physically cannot let you leave the dealership without this going on because of, emissions, because of this or that. So if we just communicate, it's going to lead to more engagement, but also when you communicate, you can sprinkle on a little bit of that magic dealership dust saying, hey, I want your car.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with adding that at the bottom because we don't know. You could have somebody like me. I'll use myself as an example. I'm looking every single day at getting into a truck. I drive a sedan right now. I'd love to get into something bigger.
We all want trucks.
Yes.
Big trucks, big dumb trucks. If you got a deal on a big dumb truck with dualies in the back, hit your boy up.
Perfect.
In the comments.
There you go. So we all want that. But until somebody tells me what they can do for me, I don't know. I'm still just casually shopping online. Let's make it to where we have issues where I see reviews of people saying, hey, they communicated too much. They're not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as too much.
They told me too much information about my vehicle and what the process was and what was going on with it. So much information that I did not want to deal with them ever again. I don't ever want to know this much about my investment and how to own it and how to take care of it or what I could potentially do with it and for my gain. Said nobody ever.
Exactly.
People
hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Like people don't, to your point earlier, people don't recount mediocre experiences. It's either extraordinarily good or extraordinarily bad. And that hinges on what level of communication and what you're communicating.
And then you look at percentages there. If it's extraordinarily good, more often than not, they walk away happy, but they don't say anything about it.
Yeah.
If it's bad, they're looking to express
I got to tell somebody how bad this was. Yeah. So when you look at things like, hey, it's tough to find vehicles under $20,000 that are pre-owned. Well, that's a sticking point because that's what consumers are out here shopping. What can I afford? And for dealers, they want to supply those under 20K vehicles, but they're hard to come by. Can't find them. I don't know what the parameters are. So the level of what you can communicate on top of the customer's experience is paramount now.
Yeah.
So when I see that I have X amount of repair orders in my service drive, I need to know specifically who should I talk to and what should I talk to them about? And which vehicles do I need to hit my objectives? There's a way to understand that and understand that on a daily basis. When you talk about the fact that everything's inflated, everything. Inflation
Yeah.
has hit everywhere.
Can't go to a burger joint without spending $20 now.
Yes.
So,
and let's face it, people who buy used still want a car within the last 5 years.
absolutely.
And then so on and so forth.
And
But
oftentimes when people buy used, they're buying used for a value to get in a better position where they're not looking to stay at that value point.
Yes.
They may want to say, hey, right now I can only afford a $20,000 or under dollar vehicle.
Mhm.
But in 3 years, I'm in a better spot. So now I can get that car that I want.
Yes.
I can get those added features. I can get that third row.
yes,
That's something that I wanted, but I couldn't get. It's not a bad thing to reach out to those people and say, hey, now you can get into that vehicle.
Exactly.
Now it's the time to do that because we want your $20,000 under vehicle.
Yes.
Payment going up isn't always a bad thing.
Yeah, we want it and we need it.
Mhm.
Like I am absolutely that customer. Like, hey, I like all the features of this vehicle. I just can't quite swing it right now at the year that it is. Right? I can't hit that 2024, but wait till 2026. I'll be rocking that 24 at the highest trim level because it meets all my needs, checks all my boxes. You know,
And how are you going to find that out? You talk to them.
You have
That's
to talk
the
to 'em.
easiest thing is you talk to them.
You have to talk to them and you have to make sure you tap all those different possibilities for the audiences. I don't know who I don't know.
Yeah.
Until I start that conversation. So, you know, we're talking about used car acquisition. We know the inflation, you know, the cost of a pre-owned vehicle in the last 5 years has gone up 48%. Okay. That is a lot. But not only to go up for the consumer, it went up for the dealer.
Yes.
I can't supply a vehicle under that because they don't exist. So when you factor in people who normally buy those cars who would get those financed, when they're financing vehicles, banks are looking at a certain date range of vehicle that they're willing to even finance certain amounts. We have a lot of things working at the same time. As an
100%.
industry, those are the things we have to figure out. And we're car people. We're going to figure that stuff out. But let's let the data that we have available to us dictate a lot of those decisions.
Drive that conversation.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Now, there's a ton more stuff we can talk about with the woes of the used car industry and what's going on. But let's bring it to some practical tips from a software company, what we would recommend and what our dealers do, because we are focused on using the data that's available. Everybody that's listening to this that is associated to a dealership, just know that these answers are already in your database and they are in your daily interactions. Not a mystery. I'm not saying anything foreign. There is no magic there, but there are processes that can be automated and put in place. We do that. But just looking at it for what it is, focus your energy on daily efforts and on knowing opportunities that are going to be in your service drive, using your existing base. You've sold these people, you've serviced these people before. Know who they are, where they're coming. Are they shopping? Did they look at your website? Are they answering or responding to or opening any communications that's coming out of your dealership? There is a way to know for a fact whether that is happening. And you can focus your energy on a daily basis with those customers. Know the number of customers driving high demand vehicles. You need to have a system that can simply give you that search. What are the high demand vehicles that I'm looking for? Who has them? What do I know about those customers? What do I know about their vehicles? And how do I prioritize them? Well, the system should be able to do that for you. And then you put on your sales hat and your customer service hat and you go the rest of the way, because that's all we want to do. Point me in the direction with all of the necessary info. And yes, you should be able to instantly search your database. Once you do that search, automate tasks to the people you want involved with those customers.
Consistent follow-up. Consistent follow-up is key.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes down to. It's as simple as that. Stay in front of your customers. Make sure they remember your name.
Do that every day. Whether you have great news or news for the sake of news, just be consistent in the message, because that's what becomes associated to your brand. I can't buy a car from them yet, but I'm gonna. They tell me more information that I didn't know at the best moments when I'm looking, or something that causes me to look Yeah, I'm definitely going back to that store. Couldn't help the dude out. He did want my vehicle, but I'm going to keep mine right now. Set these conversations up by the conversations you're having. I'm not telling you to get out there and call everybody in your database. In fact, if you're out there doing that, making 100 calls to nobody, stop. Stop making cold calls. I think that's our moment. Where's my camera? Stop making cold calls. Everybody who disagrees with that, fight me in the comments. Cold calling is dead. And what I mean by that is that you don't have to make cold calls when there's so many warm calls and hot calls available by simply articulating the data. Who do you want to call? The guy that no one's talked to for 4 years, and you have zero information about them except for the fact that he bought his car on this day, so it's technically that car's birthday anniversary thing, and he was born on this day. Or the person who was in the service drive 2 months ago, opened an offer that said that he can afford to upgrade into another vehicle for a similar payment. His payment goes up $60, but it's within a threshold based off of what he's paying. He's driving a vehicle that you want, and he has great miles on it, and you know you can sell it to 4 other people in your dealership. And he opens emails. Who do you want to call?
I know my answer.
I know my answer too. But, those are the things that you should take away. It's complex. It's not complicated. Let the system do all the heavy lifting for you, and then just do what you do best, right? Don't stand around. Ain't nobody coming in the door. Go sit down, get in front of the computer, fire up the list of priority opportunities. What does priority opportunities mean? People who are worth calling. Do not waste
people that give you a
time.
reason to call. Not people that are worth calling. Yes. People that give you a reason to call.
They give you a reason to call. You know what? This has been a very interesting first take at the feed. But let's go ahead and do a quick recap. Main points of this episode. The used car market is always up and down. Some would say it's volatile. Some would say it's beneficial to a certain extent.
It's a roller coaster ride.
It's a roller coaster ride. However, there's a way to maximize your vehicle acquisitions. And one of those ways is always going to be your service drive. And above that, accessing the customers in your database that you know and letting your system do the heavy work. Those are my key takeaways, those are my key points. Be on the lookout for the next iteration, the next episode. We are going to get into end of year stuff. What happened this year? What was the highs? What were the lows? What are we looking forward to in 2024? What are we looking forward to at NADA? Because I'm going, you going.
I'll be there.
We're going to be out there. Hit us up at AutoAlert.com. Look us up on all the socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We got a TikTok coming. There won't be any dancing, but I'm going to get you as much news as possible.
Don't listen. They'll be dancing.
I might dance. I've been known to shake them hips. Anyway, until next time, you take care. We're going to have a better sign off than that at some point.